Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today we are covering Cooties. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea.
Circle, circle, dot, dot.
Now you have the Cootie shot. Which, like, I had forgotten about that until they showed that in the movie. I'm like, oh my god.
It was great. I'm so glad.
I'm like, I wonder if kids nowadays still do that.
Oh my god.
Okay, so today I am doing a repeat of last week. I am doing the Republic of Tea Blueberry Lavender, which has... I'll just go through the high points. So we got butterfly, pea flower, and blueberry, hibiscus, rosehip, bamboo, and chisandra berry.
And I'm drinking Republic of Tea Super Green Tea Brain Boost.
That's a good one.
It is. And it has organic green tea leaf, organic ginkgo leaf, organic Japanese green tea matcha leaf, organic ginkgo leaf powder. And just a heads up, ginkgo is a tree nut, so those with a tree nut allergy, please steer clear. Otherwise, it is very, very tasty. And it's got low caffeine, so it's just enough to keep you going.
But thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So for Cooties. So a guy, which is played by Elijah Wood, living with his mom, is a substitute teacher for a school. And because he's trying to become a writer. And so he goes to substitute for the school, and a zombie outbreak, well, a kid zombie outbreak happens. Root cause, chicken nuggets. And
Tainted chicken nuggets.
Yes, yes. And chaos ensues. So, yep. So... entertainment. I will say the biggest plus to this movie is the casting is very strong, because you have Elijah Wood and you have Rainn Wilson, which, if you don't recognize the name, he plays Dwight in The Office, and I don't remember her name, but they also have the woman that plays Meredith in The Office. She's Elijah Wood's mother. And the blonde girl, that's Elijah Wood's character's love interest. I've seen her in some movies, but I can't
place it, but I know I've seen her too.
Yeah.
I feel bad. We're both awful with names, though. Yeah. Please don't take that as any kind of sign of anything.
But no, like, the casting overall is, like, really strong. Mm-hmm. And even, like, the actors I didn't recognize, I, like, really enjoyed them, like the mushrooms guy. He was fun.
He was on Lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Fun.
Yeah.
I will say this is one of those movies that is probably, like, not everyone's cup of tea. Because it's just, like, one of those horror movies that's, like, weirdly, like, an uplifting movie and a comedy.
It's another comedy horror.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but it's not even like a dark comedy. I mean, there are parts that are dark, but it's like they kind of have, like, at least in the beginning, it's like more of a happy mood, and then I don't know.
It's a little bit. It's kind of like a slightly more ridiculous version of Zombieland.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but even, like, I'd say even like a more positive,
a little
mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say my biggest complaint, though, with this movie, and this is my complaint with most zombie movies, is it's gross. I don't like gross. And
she doesn't do well with gore.
And then, but it's like, it wasn't just, it's like even the kids, which I know they were trying to show kids being realistic, but the kids were gross.
Sweetie. That was actually fairly realistic.
I know. Like, I was a kid that
Were
growing
you?
up, that I'm like, kids are gross.
Yes. Yeah.
and that's why I grew up into an adult that's like, I'm not having kids because kids are gross. But no, even as a kid, I was like, I felt like such a in my own little bubble because I'm like, am I the only one in my class that's not disgusting? Like, oh man, yeah. But
yeah.
but no, the movie itself is pretty entertaining. I like the humor of it. It does have some pretty, I mean, the tension is kind of like so for me. Like, they do set up really good scenes like with the zombie kids, but I wasn't really at the edge of my seat, like, come on, go, you know. It just was like, I was just like still like very relaxed, being like, okay, this is obviously an intense, high stakes scene, but I wasn't like, I don't know, the tension wasn't completely like filtering through the screen for me.
Because it was so heavy with the comedy, like you don't quite feel the danger.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
Like there's definitely a clear level of danger, but it doesn't hit as hard as other movies like other, just to base it off of like other comedy horrors, even like Zombieland, like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Like those movies still had comedy, but it was clearly still horror movies. This one was almost a spoof.
Yes. It does feel more spoof in a lot of ways.
Yes.
And that's why I feel like maybe for me the grossness of some of the scenes like stuck out a little bit more strongly, because you have like this juxtaposition of like the super humor, but also like, I don't know, it is, for me, I feel like they balanced a little bit too much on the comedy.
I agree.
But still a really fun movie. I loved how the bully kid that like bullied Elijah, it was kind of like the main zombie instigator, where it's like, oh, let me open these doors to let all the zombie kids in.
He was a little shit before, and now
and then he's still a little shit.
Yes.
But now he's a zombie.
Yes. It's just an even bigger problem.
Yeah. And it's like, I love Elijah Wood as an actor, and I feel like he played his character really well, because it's a character that you don't really like, because he's just like, I'm a writer. But then like he kind of redeems himself by like, you know, coming out and being honest with his like love interest or whatever about like,
I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
I've been teaching this whole time.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel like it would be dangerous to play a drinking game with how many times he's like, I'm a writer.
Oh my God,
It's
yeah,
just
your
like,
liver
shut
would take
up.
a beating. Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's like, this movie, like, it's a 7.5 because it's like, for me, a 7.5 is one of those movies where like I enjoy watching it, but it's not really a go-to because there's just like little bitty things that kind of like get under my skin. And so it's like between the movie being like really gross versus like how it's a little bit too comedy, like more spoofish. It just like it was so close to being like a Tucker and Dale or starts with the R, with Nicolas Cage and Warm Bodies Man.
Renfield.
Yes, thank you. Renfield. Like, I feel like it's missing at least for me.
Such a good one too.
Like tonal wise, character wise, it's just like it just falls a little short compared to those movies for me.
Fair. Yeah.
But overall, a pretty good movie, though. I did enjoy it, and I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it and you enjoy zombie movies and you enjoy, like, the horror comedy stuff.
This one I feel like is a good intro to, like, the horror comedy.
Yeah, because it's more comedy than horror. Yeah.
Yes. So if you're not super into horror, but you want to kind of dip your toes in a little bit and you're okay with a little bit of gore, this is a good one to start off with, for sure. It's definitely more on the funny side than on the scary side.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like a horror movie. It's like, obviously zombies equals horror, but...
It's so silly.
Yeah.
It's so silly for most of the movie. So, I get it. I agree with the 7.5. That was my rating as well for entertainment. It's gonna be one of those where it's entertaining as hell, but it's not realistic at all, kind of thing. But that being said, their effects were really, really good.
Yeah. Like, this is a high budget.
Oh yeah,
film
for sure. The acting was good, though. Most of the characters suck, personality wise.
Yes.
Like, I can't feel myself really enjoying most of the characters, apart from the awkward teacher, which is really just funny. He was just hilarious.
The sociopath teacher. Yeah, I loved how he was trying so hard. Which, okay, is he the guy that was in Saw 1? One of the Adam? Was he Adam? Because if not, he looked very similar.
I don't think he was.
He looks so similar.
He looks very similar. I don't think he was, though.
I really did like his character. Like, him and Rainn Wilson's character.
Yeah.
Those were my favorite, by far.
But the awkward teacher was just hilarious. I'm sorry, but oh, look, Carnage.
And then he's like, he's just like finding an excuse to like dissect them. And then they're like, how do you know all this?
Just, like, and he has a valid reason. Like, he had a spike in his head when he was little. Like, it clearly messed something up. Like, he doesn't get social cues and things. So, I get it. But, because at first you think maybe he's just, like, autistic or something. But he really was my favorite character, to be perfectly honest. He was so funny. And so awkward, bless him. But I feel like this movie could have leaned a little more into the horror aspect of it and the scare, and toned down the comedy just a little bit. Because to be perfectly honest, with most horror movies, usually the scariest part are the kids. They're usually the creepiest part of a horror movie. And you can do so much. So much creep factor with kids, but they don't really lean into that. You have a little bit of it with the girl that's riding on, like, the trike around the room.
Yeah.
And the music is playing just slightly off. So I liked that kind of thing, and I feel like they should have done just a little bit more of that. Otherwise, it was just mostly them screaming and running around and scratching and biting and stuff, which honestly isn't too far away from the norm, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's chaos. Like the scene towards the end where they're at, like, the play place.
Yes.
And all that, I mean...
How's that any different?
It's not too much different, to be honest.
I think that plays to why, like, some of the parent, or the one scene with the parent where they didn't really even, like, notice that the kid was... I mean, she is also, like, distracted.
She was very distracted. But, yeah. 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 It's a war zone. It's a war zone. But it's very interesting. All of the teachers have very distinct personalities, so you can easily tell them apart.
Yeah.
I feel like a couple of them are a little extreme. Like the chick with the rape button, the rape alarm.
That was not what I would say would be a more extreme character. I mean, I would say it's like either the sociopath, awkward teacher, or Rainn Wilson's character.
I mean,
they were very over the top.
A little, but at the same time, like, I've met a lot of PE teachers that are kind of like that, so
PE teachers are a little quirky, let's be honest.
So, and sociopath, I could still kind of see a little bit. A little bit. So, but I do appreciate that when Elijah Wood has his moment where he's being honest, like brutally honest about his life and everything, I appreciate that he does state teaching is hard. Like, they legitimately don't give teachers enough credit for the crap.
Or enough pay.
Oh, damn, not near enough.
Yeah. Not enough pay, not enough credit.
Oh, yeah. Way
you
too
really
much
have
pressure.
to love your job.
You have to be a very special, specific kind of person to be a teacher, and my sister is one. I could not be a teacher. I do not have the patience. Bless her. Honestly, she's a great teacher. I'm so proud of her. But that's a lot for one person to deal with, for sure. It's so much crap that you have to deal with, not just from the kids or the administration even, but from the parents too.
Oh yeah, parents are assholes.
Oh.
But,
yeah. So it does take a special kind of person to be a teacher, and we appreciate those of you that are teachers. Thank you so much for all that you do. And I'm glad that this movie, not just with Elijah Wood, but with Rainn Wilson as well. He says, I love what I do. It's a lot, but I'm proud to be a teacher. Thank you for that. Like, that was a very heartwarming scene when he's doing that kind of thing, and I appreciate that as well. So they have those little moments here and there. The montage was funny when they're getting ready.
Yeah.
This movie is full of so many different cliches.
Oh, yeah.
But it's funny and entertaining.
That's a part of the fun.
It is. It really is. Like, it knows that it's a silly movie, and it leans into it.
Yep.
I feel like it leans just a bit much into it, but it is entertaining as hell because of it. And also the shrooms guy. So I'm on some heavy medication, so I might not be seeing things right. But it looks like the kids are eating something. But again, it could just be the medication.
He is hoping it was the medication.
That's great. Bad trip or zombie kids. It was great.
So for realism,
This is where it kind of turns into a crapshoot.
Yeah. I mean, I was a little too generous, but I gave it a 1.5. The first thing, and okay, maybe I'm just a strange person, and I was a strange kid, and I'm fully willing to admit this, but as a child, and even right now in my adult life, I will inspect my food thoroughly before I eat it.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that put that.
That nugget immediately looked sus.
No.
Why would she just put it in her mouth?
It takes a very specific kind of kid to not eat that.
And then the fact that was
to eat that.
And then the fact that was gooey.
Absolutely
Like,
not.
even if she put it in her mouth, the second she felt the texture difference.
I know that cafeteria food, public school cafeteria food is questionable to begin with. But there's a limit there. And if you look at, even just looking at all of the other nuggets.
She had all the nuggets, but chose the grossest fucking one.
Absolutely not. What kid does that? It takes a very specific kind of kid, and I feel like there's not as many as you think.
Okay, I'm glad that
I'm not
wasn't
the only
the first.
one.
Okay.
So glad I'm not the only one.
Me too.
It's not just you. 'Cause I
Okay.
would have looked at that and been like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I would do that all the time as a kid. Like, I mean, I would be a little bit too paranoid where I'm like, there's a black speck in my pizza. That's obviously a bug, even though it's probably like, a burnt piece or whatever. And I'd just like tear it off or throw away
Yeah.
the whole pizza.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, I would usually tear it off. Now, if it was actually a bug, like I would inspect it. If it was actually a bug, I ain't touching any part of it at
yeah.
all. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm not eating any part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, not just you.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like, and the fact that they showed, like, it was being a girl, I feel like maybe it would be more plausible if it was a boy.
Yes.
Or, like,
I
show them,
agree.
like, talking and distracted and then eat. I don't know.
even after, like, the first bite, absolutely not.
Like,
when it gushes out like that,
Black ooze. Just, it's so nasty.
it oozed. It oozed. I'm sorry, but if you bite into that and you get a different texture than you're used to, most people, not just adults, I feel like most kids would be like, no, no.
Yeah.
And like spit it out and not even swallow it. She still could have been infected by it because it came into contact with her saliva and everything.
Fair.
But the fact that she actually consumed it, nope. No.
And I also, like, I understand that animal slaughter happens, but I did not appreciate them, like, showing how graphic it was in the beginning. Like, honestly, like, I felt queasy from the start of the movie, and then showing the chicken nugget, I was like, blah, blah. Like, it was not a strong start for me.
The gross factor before we even get to the zombies.
Yeah. So I was already primed to be grossed out by that point.
So did you catch the part also where right after she ate the oozing chicken nugget, on the radio station they said that there was a recall?
Yes.
For the chicken nuggets for that specific town.
Yeah, because it was as he was waking up that it was, Yep.
So they shouldn't have even been put out.
Yep.
But I get it. School staff, like we've said, they have so much to deal with. Like, they probably wouldn't have even gotten the notification of the recall until after.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, because
so it's plausible.
Unfortunately, it's like for recalls, there's like some level of people that just like already had it. Like, I actually had a coworker whenever we were having the Bluebell ice cream recall. There's someone that had already eaten like a whole gallon with her family, and she's like, "Oh, I was wondering why we got sick the next day." It's like, okay, it's like that. None of you died or need to be hospitalized.
Yeah, and some people don't even hear about it until after the fact. So, yeah.
And then, I mean, this is maybe more of a screening thing, and I feel like I don't know how exactly you would account for this or interview for this, but he definitely shouldn't be a teacher. Because the fact that he would be petty back to the kid, like the one kid that's being like a complete asshat, the fact that he was being petty back to him, completely inappropriate for a teacher.
How so?
Well, because like the kid got bit on the cheek, and he's like, "Oh, you're fine," and like he was being a complete like asshole.
Yeah,
it's like, you're a fucking adult, and this is a child. Like, I understand children can be assholes.
Well, and people interview differently, too.
Yeah.
An interview is not necessarily indicative of how they'll actually act.
Yeah, but it's like, you, especially as a teacher, need to be, like, the higher person and, like, not, like, try and, just brush it off. Like, if a kid's an asshole to you, brush it off. Like,
he was also a sub.
Yes, but I would hope that you can go through like similar screening for a substitute.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that I was like, out of all of the jobs that it's like, I know he had been a teacher, and so it's probably easier for him to become a substitute teacher. But it's like, if that's how you feel towards kids, then you shouldn't be doing that. You should find another job.
I'd be interested to know if his teaching license was transferable. Because sometimes they're not transferable from state to state. It really depends.
Yeah.
Because they were in what, Kentucky?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Kentucky, and he was teaching in New York.
Yeah. I don't know if that's transferable, but I don't know. And then on being more realistic, showing like, kids bullying each other, picking their nose.
Unfortunately, yes, those are pretty damn accurate.
They show different like kid activities that you're like, yep, that's pretty on point.
Yep.
And then, I mean, I didn't write anything for the zombie stuff because, I mean, come on. But I did have a complaint that when they sprayed the pepper spray, it should have affected him way more.
It should have affected all of them because they were in an enclosed space. Yeah, and it would have been dispersed in the air.
I know it does depend on the pepper spray, like how strong it is, but if it was a strong one, then 100%.
Knowing her, it was probably a strong one.
Yeah.
With her personality.
Yeah, but the fact that it's like, he was just like, and then he's like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
With maybe like a little bit of redness or whatever, but...
Which went away pretty quick, too.
Yeah, it's like, no, it will debilitate a person, like, for like 15 to 30 minutes.
Yes.
So, no.
Yeah. I agree. Thank you.
But that's what I got for realism.
So you're going to be surprised. I gave it a 2.5.
Okay.
So most of the kid stuff, with the exception of eating the chicken nugget, was pretty accurate. And when I first saw this movie, because this was definitely not my first time watching this movie, at first, when I first saw it, it was before I had Alice. And I was sitting here like, okay, that seems a little inaccurate that, they can scratch that much, like they can draw blood.
Oh.
Every kid seems to be able to draw blood when they're just, walking by or running by with every scratch. But after Alice's nails can confirm. That's pretty accurate, actually.
Little daggers.
Yes, they have claws. And they suck. But let's just go down the line, shall we? When he first parks at the place and the guy blocks him in, why not just park somewhere else? Like, what person is going to be like, nah, I'll crawl through the entire goddamn car and exit via the trunk?
I don't know, because I'm that kind of person. Because it's like, I am committed to that spot. I parked in that spot. And then it's like, if anything, you're trying to show up the other person, like, you're not going to stop me from moving, It's like, I don't know. It depends on the circumstance, but I could totally see myself doing that shit.
Depending on my mood, I could potentially be that petty bitch that parks somewhere else, but then does something to that other vehicle.
What was it that your dad, they put like a sign that's like, you parked like an asshole?
Yes. Yes. You park like an asshole.com. Which, if you haven't seen that website, it is funny. And people really do be parking like assholes. So the kid ate the chicken nugget, which, no. The place takes the teachers' phones too.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Because what if there's an emergency or
Exactly. And what if the actual phones in the place, which I didn't see any phones, any like landlines in the rooms themselves at all, except for when they finally did have the emergency and the power was out, which...
He's like, how did the power go out? But yeah.
Well, the kid was ripping out stuff.
Yeah.
But...
That's true.
It still shouldn't have affected the power. It should have been breakers, but whatever. That was another thing. But whatever. It seemed more of a movie's got a movie moment when they took all of the teachers' phones.
Yeah.
Because that didn't really make that much sense. I get the reasoning behind it. Like, you want to lead by example. And why ask the kids to do something that you're not willing to do?
But it's like, have a policy on, like, please don't have your phones out unless if you absolutely need to.
Or, like, keep it in your desk or something.
Yeah,
like, don't take it away completely. What if there is an actual emergency? So, it just didn't make that much sense.
Yeah.
The cheek wound when the kid got bit should have been bleeding a lot more. Still great effects for the movie. They did a really good job. They really did. Everything looked the right color and consistency. Everything looked pretty accurate. It just, I feel like, should have been bleeding a little more.
Yeah. Yep.
The moment of bad trip or zombie kids. I was laughing during that entire scene. When the vice principal goes out there, that was really funny. It was hilarious, but inaccurate as hell. I'm sorry. What person's going to be going out there and, like, after someone told him kids might be eating someone, the principal,
like, hey, you kids.
the acting principal goes outside and goes, "Show's over. Y'all are all acting crazy." And they grab his arms and he's like, "Stop it. Stop." Like, there's blood everywhere on all of the kids, all over the playground, and you're just like, no, y'all need to stop acting crazy. Sugar. Oh, you just want to die at this point. Oh, you are so far delusional. You're already halfway gone. No, sweetie. Absolutely not. But then that leads to the next funny scene of, oh, look, carnage. Which is honestly probably my favorite line for the movie. It's great. The way he delivers it, too, is just perfect. Yeah. I do have a question, though. When the officer that showed up doesn't respond with all clear, because they do check in. Like, they say, they basically call dibs on the call if they're nearby.
Right.
But then if they don't check in and say all clear, or this is the situation, I need backup, or EMTs, or whatever, then dispatch is like, hey,
I had
where
a
are
similar
you?
thought. Yeah.
Do you need something? And if they don't respond, more units are supposed to.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So
the way that I thought of it is like, since it wasn't isolated, that maybe it was possible that the cops were just like too preoccupied.
Maybe. But that's a big ass maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's summer school. So it's not like there are too many other schools really open or anything. It's just, I don't know. It just seemed a little off.
And I don't know, maybe would they prioritize going to a school then?
I feel like they would.
Since it's
I feel like they
more
would.
of a public place.
Yeah. And with more people.
Yeah.
And kids especially. Like,
yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah. The random ass teacher that goes, "Follow me, I do CrossFit," and then immediately died.
Oh my god, I was laughing so hard. I fucking love
Why
that.
was that so accurate though? Like,
follow me, I do CrossFit. Immediately died.
Immediate death.
That was so great. I love
awkward
that.
teacher is just my favorite though.
Oh yeah, he's the best.
I don't understand why he really goes through the fluids though with his bare hands. That
See, that's why I think they were alluding to the fact that he might be a socio or a psychopath. Like, he seemed to, like, enjoy it and really want to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. He also just... I wanted to know what he was using to do the makeshift autopsy.
Yeah, like, how did he get in the skull? Like,
Exactly. Like, I didn't see any tools or anything. And they were doing it in a bathroom. Also, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have the level of knowledge or experience to know exactly what he's looking for. The brain looked a little smaller than it should have been. I could be wrong. It just looked a little smaller than it should have been. Also, he was saying, like, the gray and white matter is deteriorating and gone, but it looked intact and it looked just like it had black ooze on it.
Yeah.
And also, if you're going to be talking about, like, cellular death and everything, then you really should be seeing this stuff under a microscope.
Yeah.
Not just, eyeballing a brain and being like, oh yeah, there's cellular death there. It's necrotic. Yeah, no. You can tell when there's, like...
Necropsy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, no. Not at the level that he was saying that it was. He also, later in the movie, was like, if I can get a chicken nugget, one of the tainted chicken nuggets, then I can come up with a cure. I'm sitting here
what are your credentials, sir?
Exactly. Like, you have this knowledge and everything, and you're teaching at a school? Like, what are you gonna make this cure with, sir? It just didn't make that much sense. I can understand, okay, if we can get a tainted chicken nugget and get it to, like, CDC and all, then they can come up with a cure. That would make a hell of a lot more sense. But not, I can make a cure if we get this. Yeah, no, sweetie, absolutely not. You're funny. You're funny. I love watching you. But, no. I highly doubt this. Also, they showed if an adult gets bit or scratched that they have, like, very sudden, or fairly sudden at least, stomach flu symptoms. And they're all at some point getting scratched at least, or a bit, and none of them have a bout of horrible vomiting and diarrhea and anal leakage and everything that he's saying that they have.
Yeah, I'm like, how did he determine the anal leakage part? I mean, if he's having explosive diarrhea, you are beyond anal leakage.
A little bit, yeah. That's
like
a little bit different.
Anal waterfall.
He was locked in a closet, and he went in there with him. So I could see if he did have diarrhea or something like that, or if he's describing what he's feeling to the guy, then I can understand that too. But again, it's the fact of all of them, especially when they're like going through the playground to get to the truck and everything, like they're all getting scratched. Period. Like there's no way around it. You might not turn like the kids do, because you've been through puberty, obviously, but you're going to have a bad time of it later. And they never show them actually having a bad time of it later. They also, with the girl that had gone through puberty and was bit or scratched or whatever, she didn't have any symptoms later, and they were locked in that school for a good while before they were able to leave.
Yeah.
But she didn't have an issue.
I did find it interesting the fact that they did set it up to where prepubescent kids were the ones that were actually impacted at the most by the zombie virus. I thought that was an interesting touch.
Yeah. It's definitely different. I like the concept of it for sure. Because every virus acts differently too. And it's potentially like an excess of hormones or something intrinsic in the body, like once you've gone through puberty, that you're able to fight it off better and it doesn't affect you as well. Which is interesting, again. but it's, I don't know. I also feel like it became a bigger problem than it should have. But at the same time, I can kind of see it getting to that big a problem. I don't know. There was more destruction in, like, the cities and all than there should have been.
Fair.
I don't know. Again, more of a spoof movie, so it's not very accurate. Most of my good part of the rating was based on, like, the reactions that the people had to it and the effects, like the special effects.
Yeah.
Those were all great. The interactions between the people seemed mostly genuine, apart from the really extreme lady teacher.
I mean, they're all pretty extreme in different ways.
Yeah, but her especially just seemed a little less believable than the other characters. Takes all kinds. I'm sure there are some like that out there. But, you know. That's what I got.
Yeah, like, I think it is a really fun movie.
It is.
And as we've been saying, it is a little bit more spoof than horror, but if you like horror comedies, then definitely give this one a try. Mm-hmm. You might enjoy it. I do CrossFit.
Immediate death.
Oh, man. There are some really good ones. Some really good ones.
Oh, look, Carnage.
But thank you, as always, for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
If you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and PayPal, or we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea available. It does not affect the price of the tea. It just allows us to continue to do what we love. You can find all of the sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye!